So today we're going to grade some rooftop footage that was shot on the Sony FX3, and this was an S-Log3, and this was S-Gamut 3 Cine. So this is going to be a fun one. I feel like there's a lot of different ways that we can go about color grading it. We have some great shots. We've got some natural light. We have a section where there is harsh light and how we're going to affect that on skin. But let's go ahead and pick a clip. Let's go ahead and start here. And the first thing that we're going to do is we're going to convert this footage and put a BaseLUT on it really quick. So I'm on a clip level. Let's go ahead and look at our settings just real quick. Make sure that we're all set up. Color management, DaVinci Wide Gamut Intermediate. I'm in Rec. 79A from Output Color Space, or you can do Gamut 2.2. Big thing is make sure that you're using tetrahedral for your 3D lookup table interpolation, and we're good to go. All right, so I like to start on the second node. I've just added 4 right away. We're going to go ahead and call this BaseLUT. This is going to be our conversion, or our IDT. And we're going to go from S-Log3 to Rec. 709. So we're going to go ahead and right-click, go to our LUT, and we're going to go to BaseLUTs 2.0. This was on the Sony. We're going to select FX3 S-Log3 to Rec. 709. And instantly converts the footage, and it looks obviously fantastic. This looks like it was well shot, has really great balance. And if anything, we're looking at the skin tone on the skin tone indicator line up here, and we can see it's slightly red, so slightly magenta. It doesn't look too bad, honestly. I would hardly probably make any adjustment, but if I did, I would put that in a node right before the BaseLUT, and we'll call this balance. This is where you would do any exposure adjustments or white balance adjustments. Now, I like to scan through an entire clip just to see if there's any dark regions before I adjust any of the black levels. So here it looks like this is probably the lowest of the black levels, and then I can come over to my color wheels, go to lift, and then just dial that down if I want to increase a little bit more of that contrast. And then since we've adjusted some of our exposure, we can tweak the skin tone and take our gamma, which is midtones, which is where the skin tone lies, and we can just do this little tint dance right here. So we can kind of put it right there in the middle, and then we can pick our temperature. But overall, it was pretty close, so I would just barely just nudge it right there. And that feels like we are pretty much set up to start giving creative thought to this image. Next, we would go ahead and add a creative look. I'm going to go ahead and do that on the timeline level right here. And the reason for that is because all these clips are filmed with the same camera and roughly the same lighting. So we won't have to make too many adjustments, but we want the color to be applied to all these shots. So we're going to skip over here to our timeline, and then we're going to go ahead and add our creative LUT. All right, so one that we can start with, let's start with a LUT pack called Marble. This one I feel like will have a nice warm tone to it that looks really pleasing. We're going to go ahead and select it right here. Let's start with Marble 1. All right, right off the bat, that looks really great. You get some warmth right there, and we have some warmth in the highlights. You can see the reds are staying up there. Let's click Marble 2. All right, that one we're going to be lifting up a lot of those highlights. So we're going to be increasing kind of the contrast there from Marble 1. Marble 1, we're retaining a lot more highlights. Marble 2, and then we have Marble 3, which is a little bit more on the pink side for the skin. You can see it's moving and shifting that stuff there, compressing those colors. And then Marble 4 is going to be more even, less contrast. And then Marble 5 is a play on black and white, but it has a slight tint to it. As you can see, it's not perfectly desaturated. But overall, I feel like maybe Marble 2, Marble 1 or Marble 4 feels like a nice image right there. I mean, that just looks really pleasing. It's great on her skin tone. We've got really good highlight information that's all retained there, and you can see before and after. So I think maybe let's go with Marble 1 for now. So Marble 1 looks really great. Let's go ahead and check out this next shot right here. So I'm going to disable the creative LUT. We're going to go over to our clip level. And since we use these adjustments for this clip, I'm going to go ahead and copy and just paste it to this second clip. We can take off our balance for a second and just look at it with just our BaseLUT added. And we can take a look at this shot. So it feels like it's very bright because there's direct sun hitting them. So we're probably going to want to go ahead and darken this a little bit. So let's take our balance here. I'm going to reset that node. We're going to go to our gamma and just pull that down. Skin tone lives more in the gamma and the midtones area right there. probably where it feels pleasing. I like to keep skin tone depending on the ethnicity of the skin of the person. It's going to be somewhere between 40 to 70 RE. It's always dependent on a lot of different factors. This one's probably going to be more 60, 65 because it's brighter. So the dress looks like here. So it's kind of probably right around in this general area. But overall, I'm just kind of looking at it and playing with it. And I feel like this looks really good right there. We want to make sure that we're not clipping those black levels. So let's lift that back up. Let's pull that gamut back down a little bit. Just kind of finesse that a little bit. And then we'll go to our gain and just crank that up a little bit more and pull up our gain. So kind of adding contrast, but we're controlling it. So instead of doing it right here in this contrast slider, we're doing this with our lift, gamma, gain, and getting fairly good results. So there's before and after. And then we have the BaseLUT that is properly converting it. Let's go ahead and look at a shot. Okay, here we can see a lot more of the skin and how that's being affected by the sun. So there is a really cool tool that I absolutely love to use, and this one is the secret sauce. So this one is our Gamut Boost. Gamut Boost is honestly just amazing. I originally created this back in the day for Sony footage. A lot of the times, not in S-Log3, but there would be a lot of highlight information in skin tones that would kind of be lost whenever you're exposing, and this just brought back all the density into colors and skin tone. I feel like this is best explained as if you're putting a polarizer on your footage. So this is before, this is after. I mean, this looks great. Like we're getting all of this color density and fidelity back into the skin where it was usually kind of blown out. And we're retaining some good information. You're starting to draw your attention a little bit to some clouds back here. Her shirt, you can see a lot of the details, and it just works so well. So anytime you have harsh light on skin tone, or if you have a lot of clouds, you have a lot of dynamic range, and you want to kind of bring back some of that color, because as you increase brightness, so as you can see here, as you increase brightness, you're going to lose a lot of that saturation in the highlights, and this just kind of brings it all the way back. So I love using Gamut Boost. This is one of my favorite tools, and a lot of people love using that, so definitely check that out if you're interested. Then we can move over to our creative tab, and we can go ahead and add a creative look on this one. So we could go to Marble 4, which is going to be more evened out, and this looks pretty good. Let's go ahead and try a different look, though. I'm going to try our brand new pack X88. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to copy this, make a new node right here, and let's select X88. Let's start with Prime. Honestly, this is like one of my favorite LUT packs that we've launched. It just looks so good in a lot of different environments. So this is Prime. Then we have Theta. That looks great. We have Zeta, which has more of that pinker warmth in the highlights. It's really nice. We have Sigma, which you're going to get some more blues coming through right here. And then we have Gamma. That one's going to be definitely for more like contrast in those highlights. And then Delta. That's more of like a orange and teal kind of look, you can kind of see. But ultimately, like Prime is my favorite, and then also Theta. So Theta's right here, and Prime. Those are my two favorite LUTs right now that I'm using so much. This works in so many different environments. So let's go ahead and try it on a lot of different clips. So here, before and after, and then we can come back to the clip after you've added your creative look and you want to kind of make sure that everything's kind of adjusted well. Because this has got strong contrast, we can go ahead and just sweeten up and lift up those black levels a little bit if we want to, or the gamma just a touch. But honestly, I don't want to touch it. It looks great. So we're just going to keep it there. Let's go ahead and move on to this next clip. I'm going to go ahead, go back to our creative LUT, turn it off. We're going to go ahead and copy from the first clip to this second clip and turn off our balance. So we've got it properly converted. Let's go ahead and balance it. We're going to, I'm looking at the image. Let's take our gamma and pull that down, focusing on skin tones primarily. We're not crushing blacks. Everything looks good. And then we kind of have this fabric right here that's definitely leaning yellow, but then their skin is leaning pretty pink. So we're going to take our gamma and we're going to go ahead and adjust that. So kind of bring that over just slightly, put it on that edge. That looks fairly good. And then our black levels, we could probably just make them a little bit cooler Feels nice. There we go. All right, so now we have these two shots, or this shot right here. Let's go bounce right back over to our creative look. And boom, that is X88 prime. We have theta right here, and you can see how it's affecting the blues. So this is a good one to test. This is theta. This is zeta. This is delta, gamma. So some really nice looks. This one we might want to go ahead and just turn down like the gain. So we can probably just put it right. Maybe 60% feels like a sweet spot. That looks really clean. Looks really good. Let's go over, let's try prime. Prime looks fantastic. Let's go ahead and try a different one. Let's get a little bit different. Let's go back to marble. Let's try marble 1, marble 2, marble 3. So marble is going to be a little bit more stronger contrast, which I think is pretty interesting. But we have another interesting pack that we just released. It's called our curves. And this one is really unique because it has pre-built curves into it. And this also is a great tool set to maximize your footage and get the most out of it. So we can start with CP1 here. And this is going to be based off of that Kodak look. And this is going to be the D65 white point here. So just adding this curve alone is immediately putting that in that sweet spot. If we want a warmer version, we can use the CP2, which is the KD55. So this is going to be the warmer version. Looks really good, honestly. We have CP3, and then we have CP4. CP4 is like super subtle, but I think it just does really good. You can see how it's really smoothing out, or it's really warming up that skin tone, and it's pleasing blues here. We're not crushing anything. And then we can do this other one, which is CP5, very stylized. But then we just come to a straight contrast curve. So here's contrast 1, contrast 2, so it's even stronger. And then this one's contrast low. This one is going to even out the image. So imagine you're taking the highlights, you're compressing them, and then you're lifting up the shadows at the same time, and you're kind of keeping everything super even. That is going to be a really interesting tool if you want to retain a lot of information. And then we have just the effect of the highlights, so you can see how it's affecting the highlights. And then we also have one that's affecting just the shadows, which looks great too. So let's go back to this con low here. Let's maybe take a look at this shot here. I'm going to go ahead and copy and paste real quick. Just take a look at this shot. Looks really nice. And all we're going to be doing is we're going to be changing our timeline. Oops, let's go ahead. I've made an error where I adjusted it into the timeline instead of the clip level. So I need to switch back to the clip level, copy, paste. That looks much better. That's what I'm talking about. Okay. So, and we're just going to keep the same adjustment that was from this shot. This is the girl right here anyway. So the settings are probably the same on the camera. Looks, I mean, this is just money. This looks fantastic. So now we're going to go back to our creative right here. And this is where you're adding that con low look. But this one, I feel like let's do a kind of a contrast. So con 1, we're just adding a little bit of that contrast, and it's perfectly sweetened and dialed in already. We could add that D65, which is the CP1. We could also do the warmer version. That one looks really great. And then we can do that CP4 that was just super subtle but looked nice. So this one, I'm going to go ahead and keep it on con 1, and we're going to mix that. So let's come over here. Let's change this LUT to Cineclipse. So we're going to try another LUT pack that I really am enjoying, Cineclipse. And this is going to be very stylized, but you're going to get some really nice dense colors, dense skin tones, the reds, the greens. It's going to feel more film-based. And you can see it's already lifting up the shadows. So if you have a creative look that you like and you want to make an adjustment or tweak it, we're going to go ahead and add an adjustment after that. We'll call this secondary. And then I can come over just to my log wheels because I only want to touch the shadows here. And maybe I want to pull these down. Maybe I don't want them to be fully lifted from the LUT. And I can just do that right here. And that looks pretty good. I can change my range where it's going to start coming into effect. So maybe we start, that's a little bit too low. Right here, 1, and just pull down just a touch. Yeah, that's going to give it just not as much fade. which looks nice, and then we can add that contrast. So then you add contrast, which is that contrast, the CP one from our curves pack, and instantly we're creating all these new looks that we're getting. And then we can see how it looks on this shot. I mean, this looks fantastic. That curve is really popping. That secondary adjustment, if we want to, on those blacks. I want to go ahead and add that directly after the creative LUT. I don't want to add that after that one. There we go. I feel like that looks really good. And so you can see before and after. I mean, this looks fantastic. Let's go try Cineclipse 2. Ooh, a nice warm one. I want to see what that looks like on this clip right here. Oh, that looks great too. That looks really nice. Then we have 3. 4 is going to be a little bit different. And then 5, and then 6. 6 is going to be super dense. So this one is supposed to be really intense. So if you're going to use this one, I would highly recommend just toning it down right here in your key output. But honestly, right there, I mean, this is at probably 40%. But let's go back to 100% and just choose Cineclipse 2 or 1. So 1 is going to have more of those density in the blues if you really want blues to stand out, or you want that warmth from Cineclipse 2. This one's really fantastic. I mean, I'm loving how that looks. You can see how that pertains to the blues, which means the 1 is going to be really strong. You can see that. And then the warm one there. There's 4, 5, and then 6. Really dense. So I'm going to lean towards the second one. I feel like that looks fantastic. It looks really good. And then even if we were to adjust and look at one of these shots over here, let's go ahead and copy this. Make sure that we're in the clip level. Copy this clip, paste it over here, and then you can see rooftop party. Let's change the balance a little bit. This one's too strong. I'm going to reset that node. Honestly, it looks pretty great. I don't have to touch too much of it. Looks good. And then we'll come back over here for the creative. We can turn off this extra contrast if we don't want that. We can take off this if we want it more faded. I mean, there's a lot that we can do. Another really cool look that I love is Ether. Ether 2. This one, let me show you a shot on how this looks. This is just a nice, really cool look. Ether 2. It's very stylized, of course, but it's really cool. This one, I mean, even if you bring it down to probably 0.5, that still shines. I mean, it still works on so much of this footage, and it's so stylized. But this rooftop, if you want to get creative with it, then you can add your more contrast there. And then if we wanted to add Gamut Boost to everything, we could go ahead and add that after the creative LUT. Sometimes I like to add it before, though. So we're going to go ahead and add it, and then we're going to move it around. So here is the boost. This one is, I think the shot already has boost on it. Yeah, so it already has boost on it. So I wouldn't put it on this shot. But like if you need that to come alive, I like to add boost before the creative LUT, by the way. Not really after, because I feel like it pulls together nicely this way. Let's turn off the secondary. And I mean, this is just fire. Like, look at how much that is bringing life to an image. That, imagine putting a polarizer in your shot. Like, this is what it feels like. So again, we don't need to go super intense, maybe 60%. And then we have Ether. This is going to be 2. Ether 2, smoothing out that skin. Let's just go all the way right there. I mean, this is such a cool shot. So fantastic. I mean, I'm going to go back to X88 Prime and just see what that looks like. So you can see the difference. There's theta. I feel like that looks really clean. Overall, some really nice looks across this rooftop scene of all these different sequences. I feel like it looks great. If I were to lean into this, you know, just being very creative and leaning into just something that kind of stands out a little bit, I might go with Ether 2, pull that down to 50%. I don't need it to be too intense. And then we're adding Gamut Boost at 50% before that. And then we can add our Gamut curves right here. And this is going to add just a little bit of that contrast. And instantly we have this entire new look. So we're going from log here, okay? So let's start at log, and then we looked at by just adding our BaseLUT and then adjusting our exposure and white balance, and then coming through at the end with this creative look is fantastic. Oops, let's go right here. Here's the right one. There we go. That looks amazing. Let's just go full screen and just see what this looks like. Oh, this footage looks great. So Gamut Boost is doubled on this shot, so we'd take that off, obviously. But here, I mean, you're getting, life into all the skin tone. You're getting really great texture. You can see the blush on her face a lot more. You're getting really nice texture, and you're getting a great balanced image across everything. So overall, I think this is how I would work with these shots and help it come alive, is by using our BaseLUT to properly convert, do a balance right before it. Once that's dialed in, get creative. And we used Ether 2 on this, and then we went ahead and added Gamut Boost to kind of pull everything together, give a little more saturation, a little bit more fidelity to the density in the skin, and then we added our Gamut curves for just a little bit more of a pop, and this is the final result. Hopefully this is helpful, and hit us up in the comments if you have any questions. Thanks so much for watching.